emergency testing will begin in 3,
Hazza
2,
has started
1.
their run, even though the timer, I believe, is not actually working.
Cube and button-based testing remains an important tool for science.
It does appear that Hazza is quite laggy, although we did test the stream before, and I mean, his stream is actually pretty smooth on his end.
If you feel liquid running down your neck,
Quite the predicament, isn't it?
lie on your back and apply a
Hate to see it happen.
Oh, I think the stream is now completely fixed. No, not really.
Actually, I may want to just sync them. May just want to sync them for a bit. Let's just see where Kant is. Oh yeah, Kant even is
just starting
perfectly
up.
smooth.
Good. Because of the technical difficulties we are currently
And
No, I
Can't Even's
thought
timer
Can't Even
is
was
working, but
fine.
Hazza's timer isn't. Does someone want to tell Hazza about that?
Hate to see it happen.
If the Earth is currently
Well, it's got
governed
SAR
by
up, so
hammer,
that's
animal
good enough,
king,
really.
sentient cloud, or other governing body that either refuses
May
to
want to
yeah,
sync
fair-
them
fair
just
point, fair
a
point.
quick bit.
Both runners off to a regular start, I would say. Hazza seems to be completely frozen at this point. We got Can't Even with a very nice visual here.
Some emergency testing may require prolonged
I'm just
interaction
going to
with
switch
legal
over to
military
Kant Even's
handguards.
audio because his stream
Rest
is a
assured
bit
that all legal
smoother.
military-
So that should be up now. Or in a few seconds at least.
This next test is very
Oh, Can't
dangerous.
Even's audio,
To help you
apparently.
remain tranquil in the face of almost certain
Okay.
death, smooth jazz will be deployed in 3.
Can't Even going for the portal gun. Kind of failed on the B-hop there against the ramp.
You have trapped yourself. Congratulations. The exit door is now open.
Still a pretty good time to start off.
If the enrichment center is currently being bombarded with fireballs, meteorites, or other objects from space, please avoid unsheltered testing areas wherever a lack of
So on
shelter
Can't
from
Even
space
screen,
debris
you're now going to
does not
see
appear to
quickly
be
coming
a
up a
part of the
glitch
test.
where he
Well
just
done.
shoves the cube
The
straight through the
enrichment center
portal,
reminds
and
you
that
that
is
although
actually
circumstances may appear
semi-intended. It's just how the portals work. It was to make the physics easier. There's a small
This
box
next
around the
test
portal.
applies the principles of
Within that
momentum
box,
to
physics
movement through
is
portals.
different
Laws
than
of
how it
physics
is
no longer apply
elsewhere
in the future.
in the game.
God help you.
So because of that, you can just shove cubes straight through the door if they're
If
close
you
enough
are
to a
a
portal.
non-employee who has
That's
discovered
fine.
this
Full
facility
glitch for most
And Can't Even
speedrunners
now
has
doing
quite a bit of
something
time.
And remember, testing is the future.
Yeah, Can't
And the
Even now
future
doing a few
starts
portal
with
stands.
you.
That is similar in Portal 1, but a bit more difficult in Portal 2. You stand in the middle of a portal, shoot one of them, and the game is supposed to shove you out at 200 units of speed.
To ensure that
But if you're
sufficient
quick
But,
enough, you
cool.
can
core testing protocols,
press the
all
opposite
safety
direction and
devices have been
then
disabled.
stay
The enrichment
in the
center
portal
respects your
itself.
right to have questions
What we're
or
seeing Can't Even
concerns
do
about
right
this
now
test.
is attempting a button glitch. Basically, that button has the weird property that if you walk on it in a very specific angle, it activates without the necessity of a cube. So you don't have to go through all the tedious work of trying to get that thing.
Technically, every single button in the game can do that. Button glitches are a thing because you need to activate the button for exactly one tick. So one tick on, the next tick off, and that button just has a really nice setup to make it easier. That is technically possible with all of them.
It's possible, but it's really, really hard to pull it off with other buttons that aren't the ones that are easy to set up with, you know. Here we see Can't Even finishing up Wake Up at a breakneck speed. Very nice usage of V-hops here.
Here we are, the incinerator room. Be careful not to trip over any parts of me that didn't get completely burned.
Even's just about catching up to Hazza.
Good. You have the dual portal device. There should be a way back there. Once testing starts, I'm required by protocol to keep interaction with you to a minimum.
Here we see another
Luckily, we
example
haven't
of
started
really
testing
great
yet.
portal
This will
stands.
be our only chance to talk.
I would like to quickly point out that Can't Even is the world record holder for both Portal 2 and the Portal 2 speedrun mod. So yeah, just watch him, you're gonna see a lot of really, really weird stuff.
You should pace yourself, though.
It's
We
pretty
have a
intense, I
lot
would
of
say.
tests.
Oh,
Now,
Can't Even.
as far as I know, Hazza will do the same tricks as Can't Even,
This next
but
test
Can't
involves
just has more time in the game
discouraging
and,
interaction
well,
I just finished
I'm not quite sure how to say this, but is just better. I'll say that he is the world record holder.
I would rather say that maybe he has a lot more practice than Hazza, so he could pull off the tricks
Yeah.
with much more consistency.
Yeah, it's probably a better way of putting it. More consistent, let's put it that way.
Don't let that horrible person thing discourage you.
Hazza's stream's still a little bit lagged out. Trying to see if we can fix that problem. In the meantime, we'll just enjoy Can't Even's participation.
What you
And
just
so
witnessed
far,
there on
so
Can't
good.
Even's
Very
stream-
good pace for Can't Even.
What you just witnessed there was a laser switch glitch. I guess similar to the button glitch, you activate a laser or both laser receivers for 1 frame, and that is enough for the door to be opened when you're pushed up against it.
Now for this chamber, what he just did was a re-portal. Basically, the game, if you shoot a portal right as you go inside that very same portal, the game shoots you out at breakneck speed, giving you an extra boost in jump and in velocity. Can't Even uses this to his advantage in order to cross the gap without actually activating the platform.
Just a minor time save there, where you can let go of the cube while in midair and then hit the cube to stop you and the cube dead in tracks. Saves a couple seconds, but it's always worth going for.
Advanced aerial faith
It's
plates.
just press E once and then you're fine.
Through the air without a care in the world. I have to go to the wing that was made
Sounds
entirely of
easy in
glass and
perspective, but
15
for a
days
beginner
of broken
speedrunner,
glass
that trick can
by
be a little bit
myself.
complex to grasp your head around.
Sorry. I'm still cleaning out the test chambers.
However,
So
once you're
sometimes there's
seasoned,
still
it's
trash
basically
in them,
second nature
standing around,
at that point.
smelling and being useless. Try to avoid the garbage hurtling towards you.
And here we have,
Remember
on Can't
before
Even
when I
screen,
was
we have
talking
another
about
form of
smelly
button
garbage
glitch.
standing around being
What that chamber is supposed to do is drop a lot of garbage out of the faith
Did you
plates,
know that people
and
with
one of
guilty
those is a
consciences are more
sphere,
easily startled
and that
by
sphere can
loud
actually
noises?
activate that button again for 1 frame, so that
I'm
the door is
sorry,
open
I
for
don't know
just
why
long
that
enough for
went
you to go
on.
through.
Anyway, just an
Now that's gotta
interesting
be my
side
favorite
fact.
trick of all time, doing a super re-portal. So much fun to pull off, very satisfying when you do it. Essentially, a super re-portal is like a normal re-portal, except it is multiplied because of a certain portal stuck glitch that you can perform on the floor by aiming at a certain angle. Stucks you into the portal, you shoot
Ew.
the other portal out, and it keeps accumulating velocity,
Every test
and it
chamber
shoots
is
you
equipped
upwards.
with an emancipation
Or in the
grill
direction
at
that the
its
portal's
exit,
facing,
so
really.
that test subjects. This next test involves emancipation grills. Remember, I told you about them in the last test area that did not have one.
Fun fact about
Yes,
this
this
room
is
is that
a
that
really
floor
fun
is
test
actually...
chamber, because that test...
Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, that floor, those 2 panels just poke out for just a few seconds. You can shoot under them and then complete the chamber, actually in less than 10 seconds. That is the only map that has a sub 10 seconds in the entire game. Because this game is also separated into, well, an inbuilt mode in the game is called Challenge Mode, which we short to CM.
Sailing through the air
And
majestically,
that is
like an
just the
eagle,
Challenge Mode
fighting
is the
blink.
individual levels without just, well, it is just one level after another.
Enjoy this
So
next
with
test.
certain
I'm
levels,
going to
there
go
are
to
some
the
tricks which
surface.
are like
It's a
only
beautiful day
possible
out.
in
Yesterday I saw a
individual
dream.
levels because
If
they're
you
just
fall
so
this
difficult or
next
so
test,
inconsistent.
Maybe I'll let you ride an elevator all
But
the way
most
up to
of
the
the tricks seem
break
to
room.
be relatively
And I'll
similar.
tell you about the time I saw a deer again.
And you do have a lot of the two, and the runners of this game can basically be broken into either CM or full game. Now both of these runners are fantastic full game runners. Can't Even, of course, has the world record, but Hazza as well is fantastic. He is very consistent and improving very fast as well.
If you rubbed your cheek on one,
With a little bit of
it would be like
practice,
standing
Hazza could probably
outside
give
with the
Can't Even a
sun
run for his
shining
money, I
on your
presume.
face. It would also set your hair on
That's
fire,
why they're racing
so
together.
don't actually do it.
Here we see wonderful little
Excellent.
glitch
You're
where you
our
can push
predator,
the
and
cube
these tests
in
are
through
your
the
prey.
window using a very similar glitch that we saw in Chamber.
Good news.
I believe it was
I figured
Smooth
out
Chamber
what to
Jazz
do with
is
all
the
the
name of
money
Forge,
I
that.
Smooth
saved
Jazz,
recycling
yes.
your one room full of air.
It is the
Having the
exact same
portal there
technique.
I'm going
activates
to
a weird
laminate your
clipping
skeleton and pose
mechanism
you in the lobby.
near that
That
window,
way future
allowing you
generations
to
can
go
learn
through
from
freely.
you how not to have. Well done. In fact, you did so well. I'm going to note this on
Cat
your
even
file
has completely
in the
caught up with Hazza at
commendation
this point.
section. Oh. This next test involves turrets. You remember them, right? They're the pale spherical things that are full of bullets. Oh wait, that's you in 5 seconds. Good luck.
Expertise placement of portals and of bee-hopping, performed by Cat even.
To maintain a constant testing cycle,
This
I
map
simulate
arguably the
daylight
hardest
for
map
hours
of
and
the
add
entire run.
vapor to your oxygen supply.
Obviously, I'm
So
joking,
you
this is
may
the
be
easiest map
confused
ever.
about the passage of time. The point is,
Although technically there
yesterday was
is
your
a trick
birthday.
to trigger
I
the
thought you'd
dialogue
want to
early,
know.
because, well, one thing we didn't mention is there's the speedrun mod, so
That
it cuts out
jumpsuit you're
everything that
wearing
is
looks
slow.
stupid.
That includes
That's not
the
me
ending
talking.
dialogue at
It's right
these
here in my
lifts,
file.
because
On
usually
other
in the
people
game,
it
when
looks
GLaDOS
fine.
keeps talking,
But
talking,
right
talking
here
for what feels
inside
like
it is
70
noted
years,
that on you it
you have
looks
to
smooth.
enter the elevator at a
Now,
certain
what
point
does
in
a
order to load the
heck-brained
next
old
level.
engineer know about fashion? He
But
probably...
with this
wait.
mod,
I'm going through the list
but
of
with this
test
mod, you can
subjects in
just enter the
cryogenic
lift as soon as
storage.
possible, and then the next level will load like 2 seconds later.
I have a surprise waiting for you
This mod
after
also
this next
cuts out
test.
every,
Telling that
practically
it's
every
still a
cutscene
surprise.
in the game,
So I'll just keep
making
you
general
waiting.
gameplay all
It
that
involves
faster.
meeting 2 people you haven't seen
This
in
mod is a
long
favorite
time.
among speedrunners to practice for full game runs, especially when you're practicing new techniques. Of course, some of these techniques do vary with the full game run, but still, very useful mod by Crazy.
It says this next test was designed by one of Aperture's Nobel Prize winners. It doesn't say what the prize was for. Well, I know it wasn't for being immune to neurotoxin. I bet you think I forgot about your surprise. I didn't. In fact, we're
Even headed towards surprise at the moment. Well, Hazza is just getting into laser relays. I believe, I presume.
I made it all up. Surprise. Oh, come on. If it makes you feel any better, they abandoned you at birth. So I very seriously
We have another example
doubt
of
they even want to see
reportaling
you.
in order to cross that gap at a shorter amount of time. And there, each portal has a little bit of a help hitbox, where if you hit close to the portal,
Well, you know
the
the
game
old
automatically
formula.
redirects your shot
Comedy
to
equals
cover
tragedy
the
plus
area
time.
that you want to
And
cover.
you have been asleep for
However,
a
in
while.
this instance, we see Can't Even
tragedy
shot
plus
straight
time.
off
And you
that panel.
have
That's
been
because
asleep
the
for a
help
while.
guide
So I get
is massive, absolutely massive in
equals
that
tragedy
room.
plus time.
He
And
uses
you
this to
have been
disadvantage.
asleep for a while. So I guess it's actually pretty funny when you do the math.
And those
See him
portal
lining
helpers
up.
are pretty useful, first to just make difficult shots easier, and there is at least one chamber later in the game where the helpers technically are big spheres,
I thought about our
and
dilemma, and I came
that
up
sphere
with a
is just
solution
big
that
enough so that it passes through a wall. So that technically you can shoot a portal through a wall. That's only useful in
federal
one chamber,
regulations
though,
require me
which you're
to
going to
warn
see
you
about
that this
halfway
next
into the run.
test chamber
Ish.
is looking pretty good. That's right.
And on Can't
The
Even screen, yet
facility is
another
completely
laser
operational.
switch glitch, which I think might actually be the final one of the game. You take that
I've
cube,
got a
you wiggle it
surprise
back and
for
forth,
you
and the
after
door
this
opens.
next test.
Yeah, it's
Not a fake
basically
tragic
just that.
surprise like
That's a really
last
short
time.
chamber as well.
A real surprise with tragic. What's going on?
Run! I don't need to hear the voice. Run! Run! Run!
Now we see Can't Even during the escape, be hopping across the rails like an absolute champ.
Come on! Come on! Come on! Run!
Now we should get a small stair boost. Ah, just missed it. You should get a small stair boost just to skip
barely
this
missed it.
tiny part of the stairs. Saves like 2 seconds, but definitely worth going for. Bit finicky, in my opinion.
Come on! Come on! Ah! What's going on in there?
Oh, he is gonna go for it. This is actually a speedrun mod only trick called long shot. Quite obvious. Because the door that Can't Even is now going to go through is in the mod already open, but in the base game is closed. You need to take the elevator up and then it opens. But because that door is already open, you can just shoot a portal straight through it and skip that walking section. So that's about 20 seconds, so pretty reasonable amount.
Quite impressive, really. I'm going to try that out next time I do a run.
Not as difficult as you think.
Chopped up his entire star.
That's like a speedrun mod only thing. And now what you're going to see on Can't Even screen is, well, first of all, you can see. This part of the game is quite notorious for being very dark, and depending on what monitor you are playing the game on, it can be physically impossible for you to see. So a few years ago, the Portal community just decided to have 3 console commands be allowed, so that increases the ambient brightness of the level, so that people can see. Can't Even actually has it pretty low, because some people have it so that it's blindingly bright, and then you have like Can't Even who has it like just enough so that you can see, but it's still reasonably dark. And now it's got turned off again. So between the last level and this one, you can definitely see the difference, especially when you're looking between them so fast.
And the textures have a very distinctive quality whenever you turn on that command, so you'll know whenever it's on. Here we might see Can't Even. Yep, he is going for what is called a pancake shot. There are 2 pancake shots during the full run. In this run, as far as I'm aware, there's only 1. And it is in this very room. Each door that has that specific form to it has a very small area, very small gap between the frame of the door and the top, where you can actually shoot a portal through. As you can see, Can't Even apparently just shot a portal in the middle of the door and appeared on the other side. That's actually because of a small model glitch that is present in the current version of Portal, which allows us to completely skip the entire turret sabotage sequence. Saves quite a few seconds if done right. Can be a run breaker if done catastrophically wrong.
But I believe both of these runners will actually go for their pancake skip. You definitely saw Can't Even go for it right now. I believe Hazza's going to go for it too.
There's our handiwork. I shouldn't laugh, really. They do feel pain.
I see Can't Even reaching the neurotoxin generator. Now what's interesting about this part is that that door can actually be shot through, so you can reach the panels at an earlier rate, which makes the entire thing that much faster. Now he's on his way to meet GLaDOS.
And one thing I should point out about this mod, it removes 3 massive cutscenes all one after another. Because now there's a cutscene you're supposed to watch, actually now also a cutscene you're supposed to watch. The first is a cutscene of about a minute and a half. You're just in a tube. It's called Tube Ride, if you want to know. And then in this cutscene you just, well, skipped, I guess. You're supposed to be in a big glass box, and GLaDOS was supposed to kill you. That again is about a minute. And then Longfall, which Can't Even just entered, first map of Chapter 6. That is, I think, a bit less than a minute, but you know, that's around about 4 minutes saved, just from those 3 maps.
It can get quite tedious at times watching these cutscenes over and over again.
Yeah, that's why I've got a phone, so I can just twiddle about while doing stuff. I can also just check.
Other runners would rather just prefer to talk to their chats, maybe do a juggling act.
Quite a lot of these
maps.
Quite a lot of the maps in Portal 2, at very least in the early game, but before Chapter 6, a lot of them are just the regular test but faster. But especially in the late game, Chapter 6 and so on, you're going to see a lot of abuse of the mechanics now. Because Chapter 6 and 7 introduce gels for Bouncy Gel and Speed Gel, which we don't actually use in the game or whatever. We have Bouncy Gel, which means we can bounce wherever we want, to basically skip half the level in about 10
Saw there,
seconds.
by the way, if I may allow myself to interrupt, is a very blatant use of reportaling to cross that massive gap. The very interesting thing about those platforms, those diagonal platforms that are supposed to shoot you off into the distance, is that if you approach them with a very specific speed, it shoots you off anyway. It doesn't matter if you are walking, running, or falling. If you reach that speed, it will shoot you off. In this instance, Kant even used a reportal to gain extra speed and basically jump over every single segment of that chamber without actually having to solve any real puzzle.
Oh, in case you got covered in that repulsion gel, here's some advice the lab boys gave me. Do not get covered in the repulsion.
Mr. Park in chat just said that Longfall is 1 minute 17 seconds. So yeah, that is quite a long chamber. Yeah, and the troop ride is 46 seconds, so I think I just had the timers mixed up. Anyway, it's almost 4 minutes in 3 maps, which is objectively too long.
I like your style. You make up your own rules, just like me. Just a heads up, that coffee we gave you earlier had
And just a very small thing about that map in particular. You saw the gel blobs getting fired down, and usually in the base game you would wait about 5 seconds between each blob. So just that tiny, well, not that tiny, but just that difference really speeds up the whole game, or just that map really.
For
Just
this
those
map,
minor things you really notice.
infamously called Crazy Box, I say infamous because it's one of the most frustrating maps for a speedrunner to learn, at least in my experience. He performed what's called a stuck launch, which you will see later on in these chapters. Essentially, he was able to go up into the roof, get himself stuck, and launch himself over across the map, basically skipping the entire chamber. Of course, this is oversimplifying it. There's a lot more that goes on in that map. But so far, that is as much as we can say before going on to the next chamber.
The testing area is just up ahead. The quicker you get through, the quicker you'll get your 60
And here we see yet another reportal. This is probably the most difficult in the game, because you're walking into it instead of falling. Does it first try, fantastic. Reportals work because half of your body needs to be in one portal, and that is much easier if you are coming feet first, as opposed to side on. That is definitely a really difficult shot. This might actually be my favorite glitch in the entire game. What happens is you place blue gel on that ramp, fall through a portal, scroll down, which is jump, and then you just get yoked at incredible speeds and complete the chamber in 20 seconds. That might be my favorite glitch in the entire game. I love that one.
Thank you. I can't believe I'm thanking you for staggering your way through Amateur Sciences propulsion.
Oh, here we're going to see, I can't even, we're going to see a glitch that's been discovered, another super reportal that's been discovered a few weeks ago, actually. This is called Lemon Skip, and skips possibly the best part of the entire game, which is Cave Johnson's rant on lemons. That is a super reportal, which we just explained. You get stuck, then use the portal burst I think about 10 times in a row to build up speed and then get launched up. And much like a lot of other tricks, this is unnecessarily precise in order to actually get it.
This
You
trick
need
is
to line
also
up 4
infamously
times in a row and place like 4
extremely
portals.
difficult to pull off.
Because I think the setup is you need to line yourself up 3 times and shoot 4 portals before even doing the reportal. And then the reportal itself is I think 10 or so. Can't even get it second try and get launched into the air with pretty good speed actually. It is quite easily possible to shoot too many portals and get too much height. Doesn't really affect you that much, although you do stay in the air for an extra few seconds. And Cantiven is now on 3 gels. This is the second map, actually second and only map with the stock launch.
Precisely.
There has technically been a stock launch been discovered in the second half of this level, but it's only really useful in the base game because it takes a long time to set up. So in this
What
mod,
we're
you
about
might
to
as
see
well...
here is pipe bounce. Basically, the pipes have blue gel in them, which allows them to bounce up all the way to the top of the chamber without having to use the elevator and wait an entire, I believe it is 5 to 10 seconds for the elevator to go all the way up, even in the speedrun mod. It's just objectively faster this way. And with that,
Again, that is not particularly difficult. Now moving into Chapter 8, in which Chapter 8 and 9 might actually be my favorite part of the game, because you're going to see a heavy use of crouch fly glitch. That is pretty obvious, a glitch whereby you can fly. That is using the funnels, which you're going to see in probably the next chamber actually. But you change your crouching state, so either start crouching and go into standing, or start standing and go into crouching. And then the game has a heart attack and just lets you fly. I genuinely don't know why it happens.
Even having a little bit of trouble with that button there.
Oh, explain Q throw, please. That is not fun.
Or I get this itch, you know?
Yeah, crouch fly you're going to see a ton throughout the next 2 chambers, so I'm going to go into some detail explaining it. Again, another thing about crouch fly is you can't actually change your height. You can move side to side and that's fine, but for height you need to bounce to an object or use a cube to shove you down. That is the tricky bit about using CFG. And I guess similar to bunny hopping, you can actually go too fast and lose control, so just keep going in a straight line until you hit a wall. No burger, Cantiven is not no clipping.
It's a very big misconception with most of these runs, but no, it is an actual mechanic in the game. Well, not a mechanic, it's more of an exploit, but still quite an impressive exploit, I would say.
Well done.
Yeah, that's kind of a meme in Cantiven's chat specifically because I said Cantiven now holds the world record. So because you get a lot of people who don't know much about Portal 2, or much about speedrunning, I should say, they just assume he's cheating, which I think is just quite funny.
Oh yeah.
And there Cantiven has to use a cube to push himself down because you can't actually change your height. CFG works because the game thinks you have another hitbox when you crouch, so you have 2 at the same time. Thank you, Puck, for that. I honestly don't know how it works, I just know it does. And I think about this chamber. Yeah, I think about this chamber is this second part that Cantiven's in now with the cube is supposed to get slammed into your test chamber, but this mod already has it there, so that saves about 20 seconds or so. And yes, Fox, it's over 300 velocity, then you can't change direction. Same with bunny hopping. Oh, it's a bit more difficult to do bunny hopping, in my opinion. And that's just something I love about CFG. We can air strafe and skip a chamber in 10 seconds. That's one thing I love. It's clearly not intended, but it's so fun to watch. So fun to do, even.
Extremely interesting to see the exploits that are found within this game.
Hate to see it happen. What you just saw there is called a Great Shot, and no, I'm not going to shout. And it's called Great Shot because you have a tiny, tiny bit of portable surface on that grate. So therefore you can shoot a portal in the entire thing. That is reasonably precise, although you can get it with a few minutes of practice. Oh, just missing the cube right there. There's a small trick you can do there. Press the button and then jump onto the faith plates. That's skips you having to actually get the cube, like you're doing right now. Though a lot of people tend to have the problem that you enter or stand on the faith plate too soon. So it is actually timing based.
Oh, sorry, I could have sworn you said something.
And that first try, what a gamer.
Are you absolutely sure you're solving these correctly?
So apart from that,
Yes, you solved
that's
it.
really
I'm
it.
wondering if maybe there's a number
And
of
another
ways to solve
another
them.
small reportal to get
All
just
the
that tiny speed boost going into the end of the chamber, into the elevator.
Hannah Brainwave, I'm going to tape you solving these and then watch 10 at once. Get a more sort of concentrated burst of science. Oh, on a related note, I am going to need you to solve these 10 times
Can't even
fast.
now,
Anyway,
again,
just give me a wave,
getting
would you,
crouch
before you
flag
solve this
glitch
one,
and
alright? I
actually
don't want a
keeping
story
it
ending
into
where I
the
want you
next
to-
level, or maybe the next few levels even. This can be... Yeah, getting it into the next few levels, because you don't need it for the speedrun route of this level, though it's definitely easier if you do have it.
Programmed in one last tremor for all time's sake. Alright, so two. One or two more tremors in there just for fun.
And another fantastic trick which I just love. You place a portal and put a cube like on the edge of the portal, then it falls to the side and aims the laser just right. I just think it's funny more than anything.
Oh, you're alive! Great! Yeah, just getting a test ready for you,
And
obviously. Who else would I be doing
how
it
can
for?
he resume this version? This version of the chamber is so incredibly difficult, but gets it first try, obviously. You need to do a fling from... You need to do a fling. Actually, you're coming out of the portal the other way. So we need to place the portal, turn 180, and then air strafe backwards.
3 more chambers to your big
That is
surprise.
really difficult to do, but he gets it first try.
Oh, that's tiring.
He is going to possibly enter chapter 9 with Fly.
Yeah, those turrets at the end of that level can be really annoying because they shove you against the right side of the wall, which just loses a few seconds. And actually, no. In this speedrun mod, in the regular game, you would actually keep crouch fly into this level, because the funnel can't even going in right now is the same speed as all the other funnels. So just this funnel section alone would take about 30 seconds. But since this has been sped up so much, you can just go in it normally. It doesn't really lose that much time. Might actually be slower if you use CFG.
He just fell off the rail, just like that.
Yeah, those rails are really annoying.
Missed the shot as well. There we go, that's what we were looking for. And I believe in this next chamber, when he gets the opportunity, he will be reacquiring Crouch Fly.
For the last time, I believe, Final 2 and 3 are using CFG. Final 4, sadly not being able to skip Final 4, really need to work on that.
Well, no matter, because I'm still holding
This, I believe, is the final time you get Crouch Fly.
Never actually played cards, meaning to learn. Anyway,
What strategy can we do here?
Ace of fours.
Wonderful pace.
Stream is buffering for me, so I can't actually see it. Some people prefer to remove those turrets first before going into that funnel. It just makes it a bit easier. But if you go fast enough, then you don't really need to worry.
Can't even just got absolutely obliterated by turrets.
Oh, those turrets are really annoying.
There is another alternative route, a little bit slower, but still skips the entire turret sequence. He has decided to go for the slightly harder, yet more effective route. And with Fast Fly, he is speeding through the Finale 3 chamber, right before the boss fight against Wheatley.
One more thing, there's a second funnel just after this level, at the very end, which usually is the same speed as all the funnels in the rest of the game, but this one and the one in Final 1 are both the same speed, so both really fast. So that's why you can go into this much sooner than you would in the regular game. And
He can't
Candy
even
now
approaching
entering Final
weekly.
Four.
Attention to him. If we do it a few, plug me in and I'll look. Even if you think we're still enemies, we're enemies with a common interest. Revenge. You like revenge, right? Everybody likes revenge. Well, let's go.
Now what he's doing there is he is doing conservation of bombs. Basically it's a glitch where the bombs keep on in an infinite loop inside those portals, so you don't have to wait for Wheatley to throw you once again another bomb.
Okay, great. Here comes another core.
It's quite useful, I say. Saves quite a few seconds.
Warning. Core corruption at 75%.
About to install the final core onto Wheatley. And if everything goes well, we should be seeing Moonshot very soon. Basically, the ending door does have a very small window where you can shoot through the door and get a moonshot, basically ending the game earlier. And Can't Even finishes with a time of 32:28, essentially giving him the first point in today's matchup. Wonderful presentation by Can't Even. 32:38, sorry.
Yes, and I would like to point out, in the Portal 2 speedrunning Discord server, Can't Even just said cringe about that run. You know, 32 minutes. That's nothing. And let me just switch the audio to Hazza, so you can not hear this beautiful rendition of Cara Mia, or whatever it's called. I don't speak Italian. I do
Caro
want...
mia bella.
That's it, I don't speak Italian.
Was self-destructing, already fixed.
There we go.
Wheatley Hazza at 34 minutes.
Like 1 or 2 more tremors in there, just for fun.
So he's now on... Well, he's still in chapter 8, so I'm going to assume it's definitely a sub 40.
Let's keep moving. Sorry about the lift.
Yeah, definitely a sub 40, I'm gonna say.
Might as well, give you the tour. To your left, you'll see
Possibly.
some lights of some kind. Don't know what they do.
He still has all of finale to go through, so
Right, something huge. Are you all right? Oh, you're alive! Great. Yeah, just getting a test ready for you. Obviously, who else would I be doing it for? No one.
see Hazza doing a default route apparently. Or a hybrid of the default route. A bit difficult to keep up with. Stream lag is not helping us in the slightest.
Yes, stream lag and Hazza's lag both combined to make some interesting commentary.
Big surprise.
But from the races we've already done, now one of the runners has completed the game, so it should maybe be easier on Hazza. So you might actually get some, I don't want to say decent footage, but some smoother footage of more than 3 frames a second.
I'll bet you're both
Now
dying to
now
know
Hazza's
what your
going
big
into
surprise is.
final one,
Only
chapter
2 more
9.
chambers.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with my sub 40 for Hazza.
It's entirely possible. If you get a very good, consistent finale segment, then you can definitely see a sub 40.
Don't do that. Hello. When you go. No, seriously, do come back. Please, come back, please. Okay, look, I've decided I'm not going to kill you, okay, if you come back. Oh, just thinking back to the old times, the old days when we were friends, good old friends. I can't help but notice.
Now, if you all are interested into meeting the runners today, or basically hanging out with the Portal 2 speedrunning community, you can always join the Portal 2 speedrun server in Discord.
Ha! Death trap!
I believe it is exclamation mark portal 2 in the chat. Not sure though. Or you can just
The
bug one of
community
us.
is quite friendly in there, and if you ever have questions about how to speedrun the game, do not hesitate to ask. There's probably someone out there, someone in the server, that would be more than happy to help you out. That's how I personally started. Lots of friendly people in there.
And actually, if you want to learn how to speedrun the game, Kant even himself has a tutorial series for the entire game, going through all chapters and actually intro as well. It is a very good tutorial, and I guess basically the only one up. Everything Kant even just did in this run, he will show. I mean, apart from the long shot, but that's a speedrun mod only trick. Again, with speedrun mods, you just ask some of the developers, or ask the developer of this mod, and he'll tell you about it.
Bullet flying out of the room. Oh, those were the crap turrets, weren't they? Yeah. Well, no matter, because I'm still holding all the cards.
See Hazza apparently reattempting the entire chamber once more. He might have lost crouch fly in the middle of it. Somehow.
Yeah,
Not
that is
sure how
quite
that would work.
annoying because crouch fly is really weird. There's two ways of doing it. There's I guess regular crouch fly, which is getting it from the funnel itself. Then there's preserved crouch fly, which is if you take it through a level transition, and they are similar but different in very weird ways. It's hard to explain. You just need to run the game in order to find out.
I believe we do have a forfeit from Hazza. He has ended the run, which automatically gives Can't even. Well, he already won the point, but however. Very good attempts from both participants. And now we are getting ready for match 2, I believe.
I'll send them both a link to this Discord server, so we should see them or hear them in a bit once I get that sorted out.
Probably also mentioned to Hazza about the stream lag, if there's something that he can do on his end to...
Hey, do you want to know a funny story?
Was your stream delayed by 45 seconds?
I would love to know a funny story, Can't even.
Yeah, I was streaming with 45 seconds of stream delay.
Yeah, I was desperately trying to fix that on my end, but I could not do anything. I was panicking for like a solid 3 minutes.
Yeah, about that one.
That could explain the extreme delay in the stream.
Yeah, because I was streaming TF2 last night, so...
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Do you need that much of a delay to stream TF2?
Well, it was a match.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess.
So, make sure they couldn't stream snipe us. And, it's
Yeah.
TF2, so, there might be a stalemate every now and then.
Yeah, that's true.
Can happen.
Wonderful presentation from both of you.
Well,
Very,
I wouldn't
very
go
well
that far.
A presentation from both of you, let's put it
A
that way.
presentation.
Did you guys enjoy my slideshow?
I got to tune in a little bit at the end to see it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was just
it
the
was a
right mix
very-
between slideshow and watchable.
It was a very informational PowerPoint presentation.
I have seen
had
much
to-
worse.
I've done
It was
much
more
worse.
of a Prezi presentation. Still a little bit watchable, but...
Hey, I mean, I just got my internet, upgraded, and it's still practically the same. My stream looks the same, so I don't know. I think it's just my PC now needs an upgrade.
Did you update your network options in OBS?
Yeah, I did. I made it yeah, I went from streaming at 200 bitrate to 1000. So it made a difference, but yeah, it's still not the best.
Well, I don't really know if there's that much to talk about.
No, not really. You had more than 8 minutes lead on me, even with your 45-second stream delay.
And also, it was nice because I was actually on flings, and then it was like, when you're like high on like a cliff or something, and then you fall off that cliff. That's the run.
Yeah,
Just
you failed
me
every
falling
roll
off a cliff.
6 times in a row. That's not fun.
Pitflings does that to everyone.
Pitflings can be a bit annoying, can it? Whew.
Well,
Alright, well,
yeah,
I'm gonna go get some food, but good race. Hopefully we can race again in a few years when I'm better.
All right.
And I'll actually stand a chance.
And maybe in a few years, my PB will be like a 29:43 or something, but full game, not speedrun one.
Oh wow, okay. You're getting cocky there.
This is a bold claim here, chat. Everybody take note. Can't even is promising us a 29:43 full game run in the next few years.
Few years could mean anything,
But it's still
How-
a few.
how many
It's not
is sub?
quite a bit of years. It's few years. So I'm expecting maybe 3.
Yeah, we'll see.
69. I don't really know.
69 years. Yes, the magic number.
That's a nice amount of time.
Well, GG to both of you. Very well done.
Yeah, with that bad joke at the way, anything you want to say?
What?
Is
Wait,
there
what?
anything else you want to say?
I'm still a
before
bit
we-
tired. I
Oh yeah,
woke
good
up.
morning. How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. If I was in like the Pacific United States, this would be a bit more excusable. But I'm really just I'm still in the quarantine sleep schedule because I'm not doing anything.
I mean, everyone's in that sleep schedule now. I know someone who keeps waking up at about midnight to like start their day.
Yeah, I could never do that, but
No, I definitely can't.
That sounds like hell. Anyways, chat, please go ahead and give Can't Even and Hazza some support by following their Twitch channels if you haven't already.
Follow
Go
Can't
ahead.
Even, not me.
I
Oh,
mean,
no.
okay. I'm probably gonna be running Half-Life 2 like half the time, so that'll be fun.
Still though, go ahead, give them some love. And we hope you enjoyed this matchup in the Portal 2 Speedrun Mod tournament.
Wait,
And
let's do the thing. Who are the runners racing next?
Oh,
I'm
I
gonna be
believe it
playing
is...
You're going
Sushi.
against Sushi, yeah. It's the match
Oh.
everyone's been looking forward to.
Genki Sushi, I will totally be watching that one.
That will be a wonderful, wonderful matchup. Let me go ahead and check out who the next matchup is.
Yeah.
It will be a Waterless Melon versus Bets Runner at 8 o'clock.
Oh, that
PM.
actually that's gonna be interesting.
At 8 o'clock PM Eastern Time. So stay on the lookout for that. And for the moment, for us, I believe that is everything.
Hit the button.
I'm doing it. I've got like 19 tabs open. Goodbye, have fun, do all the stuff. Have a fun evening.